Aloha everyone! Just jumping on at sunset time, but there's actually no sunset to be seen today. Here, I'll show you what I'm looking at though. It's still beautiful. Okay, so the sun would technically be setting over there, but we got lots of clouds. But here I am at this amazing place called the City of Refuge. So this is actually a sacred Hawaiian place that I actually take people, my retreat people to, and it has such a peaceful, grounding energy, so I really like to come here and just tune in, you know. And I wanted to talk to you guys about spirituality today because it's been such a big part of my life and a big helpful thing in my life. And it's not so complicated. It's not as complicated as everyone thinks. So I wanted to share a little bit about that and how it can maybe help you too. So I'm curious who's jumping on. I'd love to hear from you guys. Let me see where the comments are. Okay. So if you're jumping on, say hello. Where are you jumping on from? I'd love to know who I'm talking to right now. And I want to share with you about the spiritual path because for me, I went to Catholic school. I was raised in a Lutheran family, so different religions, and never really felt quite like I fit in with those religions, although I wanted to. And I appreciated, Jesus's teachings and other rituals that actually are, beautiful in the religions. But I never really felt like it quite resonated. And I think when I was in high school, I started questioning life, and I think a lot of people do in that age range. And I was really questioning the whole purpose of life and why do we do the things that we do, and the cultural conditioning and the rules that we try to follow, and the things that we try to fit into. And so I started studying different religions and spiritual paths when I was in high school, and I was very intrigued by actually I was intrigued that there was a central theme to all of the religions, but I was more intrigued by spirituality, which is I would say beyond religion. So religion keeps us sort of in a box of rules, and it's another form of conditioning where it's about, here's what you need to do to be saved, or here are the ethical things that you need to do, or this is the way to act in this community. And then there are some, really good teachings amongst all of the religions. But what I discovered in spirituality is that it's more about a connection to yourself. So it's less about how do I fit in, how do I make sure that I'm saved or I go to heaven, or that I'm a good person in my community. It's about how can I be the best person for me, and how can I discover who I really am. And so the spirituality is really about, it's a journey of self-discovery, and it's about connection to yourself. And so I remember my first spiritual experience was when I was, probably like 12 years old. And I was in the pasture with the horses, and it was in the middle of the country at my aunt's farm in Illinois. And I just remember feeling the breeze and being with the horses as they were grazing on the grass, and just feeling this sense of connection to something beyond myself. It was like this feeling of like, wow, a sense of awe, a sense of wonder, a sense of, wow, look at the beauty around me, and feeling the wind. The wind felt like spirit, like this energy flowing through me and around me. And I had this sense that there was something more than just me. And so spirituality is this awareness of yourself, and then how we fit into this big experience that we have on this planet Earth. And how do we contribute? How do we show up? How do we honor ourselves? How do we speak our truth? How do we live a life that's fulfilling, that's aligned? So the spiritual path started for me at a very young age, and without really even knowing it. And then it sort of evolved as I discovered yoga and started teaching yoga, and then eventually went into chiropractic and then doing energetic healing. And so it's become a part of my career and my life path. But beyond all of that external stuff, for me on a personal level, it has been so key to my health and well-being internally and as a human. So when I go out into nature, like I am right now, and I'm just here by the ocean, connecting here with Mama Earth, the lava of this island, there's this grounding and centering that happens when you get into nature and you disconnect from, you know, all of the hustle of life, and when you just get present. And in that presence, you start to connect to yourself, and you start to feel and observe what's going on in here. And sometimes when I'm connecting to myself and sitting here meditating out in nature, it can be a very sometimes it can be intense, because I'm feeling a lot of things. You know, it's we don't always feel everything that's going on within ourselves when we're on our computers all day, or we're talking to people, or we're keeping ourselves really, really busy. Busyness does not usually allow for much time to feel. And so sometimes the spiritual experience is feeling emotions and things that maybe you're avoiding, right? And so, you know, this week for me, or the past few days or so, has been really emotional. Just a lot of different things coming up, you know, old insecurities, or even triggers and things like that. And so yesterday I spent most of the day sitting by the water and meditating, journaling, connecting to the earth, and more importantly to myself. And so in that moment yesterday, I realized that spirituality is really, it's an inside job, and it's a solo job. It's about you and your connection to yourself and to source, God, goddess, divine, the earth. And I know that I think in the past I've wanted to hang out with people that are spiritual, or you know, be around super spiritual people, so that I could, by osmosis, have more of a spiritual experience. And what I realized yesterday is that that's not how it works. Being around other spiritual people and being in a spiritual environment is helpful, especially if you're new to a spiritual path. But it really is a solo job. It's all about you connecting to yourself and having the courage to look inside and be with yourself and be present. So anyway, so I wanted to share that. And so the thing that happens is that when you are present and you're connecting to yourself and you're discovering yourself on this spiritual path, you start to have more clarity about what is it that really is important to you. What is, you know, what is your path? And What do you really want to do or live or experience? Because it's so easy to default to, the people that we're around and their vision of the world. And so it's really important to have that time to connect to yourself and to revisit who are you, and look a little bit deeper and feel a little deeper and see, okay, what's really there. So that's why I'm always going on about do the inner work because that's one of the most rewarding things we can do in this life, and it's not necessarily glorious or fun all the time, but it really pays off because eventually, you do get through those challenging feelings or those things that you've been avoiding, and then you start to have clarity, like, oh, this is who I really am, or oh, this is really what I want in my life, and you can start to take action towards that instead of just floating along and bumping into one rock to the next, just bumping along through life. So the spiritual path it's not some woo-woo thing. Like, there's a lot of different approaches to the spiritual path. There are people that connect with angels, and there are people that talk to fairies, and there are people that talk to aliens. There are people that, just meditate. It doesn't really matter the way that you get there. It's just the most important part is that you're connecting to yourself, you're bringing awareness to yourself, and you're consciously choosing, what do you want? What do you want in this moment or going forward? And then the healing work, which is what I help people with, is to help release some of those areas that are really stuck. So we can get ourselves stuck in some really deep wounds and patterns and traumas. I know I have my own that I've worked through and continue to work through. It's a lifelong journey. And so healing is part of the spiritual path because it helps us to connect with those wounds and transform them. Otherwise, they just hang out there under the radar and they keep popping up over and over again, and they keep manifesting over and over again in your life. And so healing allows for us to feel and connect with ourselves and then transform that energy, because really all of this stuff is energy. And so anytime you have a trauma or an emotion you don't want to feel or experience, or a pattern, it's actually energy that's stuck in the body. And so healing is about how do we transform that. And so it's a really important part of the spiritual path and making progress towards being in greater alignment with yourself and your truth. And so that's really why I developed all the things that I do in my retreats and the energetic alignments, is to help people heal and move past those blockages so they can really live their lives according to their own truth and their hearts and their souls. So yeah. And that's one beautiful thing about the alignment, is that the energetic alignment really helps people to connect to themselves deeply and very quickly, so that spirituality isn't just a mystery, it's a real experience. So anyway, it's getting dark here, so I better start walking back, but I'm gonna keep talking to you guys as I walk, hopefully walk safely along the lava. Let me show you guys. It's a bit cloudy, but it's still beautiful. That's the amazing thing. The amazing thing about Hawaii, even on the rainy days, it's still beautiful. So anyway, what I want to leave you guys with is that the spiritual path is one of the most helpful tools of my life. Anytime that I've felt challenged, upset, angry, frustrated, stuck, doing the spiritual practices of meditation, getting in nature, healing, those things have helped me to navigate challenging times in life. And you know, the thing is that we often look for love and joy and happiness in other people, in our external circumstances, right? If I'm in this relationship, then I'll be happy. If I make this much money, then I'll be happy. And the reality is that you're only going to be happy when you've built happiness up within you. So it's the spiritual path really helps you to cultivate and develop these things within yourself so that you can live your life filled from within, fulfilled. And then everything else in your external world is so much more enjoyable, and your life is rich, you know, because you're feeling rich within. So this inner work is not just about getting to know yourself, but also cultivating, you know, all of the things that you want within yourself first. So you're not always seeking forever and ever. Like, I have to catch myself even to this day. Even yesterday, I was remembering this and I was like, oh my gosh, like, I constantly have this feeling of needing to achieve. It's like, oh, you know, oh, I need to do this now. I need to do this now. And then I need to do this. And it's like, damn, like, look at all the things you've already done, you know, in such a short span of my adult life. I've done so many incredible things and achieved so many things that I didn't even think were possible when I was in college or growing up. And so it's like, when is it ever enough, right? And so that lacking, that achievement energy, which, you know, can be really great for getting shit done, but the achiever mentality and that energy just keeps us going and going and eventually burning out, because we have to realize that you're already enough, you know? You're already enough within yourself. And you don't need more money to prove to yourself that you're enough. You don't need more friends to prove that you're enough. You don't need a better job title to prove you're enough, right? If you already feel that within yourself, then you find enjoyment in any situation. And the beautiful thing is that when you're in that vibration of fulfillment, being filled up from within, you just attract amazing things, you know? So those, maybe that that pay raise or that new job just comes more easily and naturally because you're already feeling good. You know, the ideal relationship comes to you when you're feeling enough and you're feeling really good within yourself and you're owning yourself. Then you meet the partner who's a match. The spiritual path is really about mastering yourself, owning who you are, being enough, and the reality is that you have to practice it. You know, like I said yesterday, I had to remind myself, hey, I've already achieved enough. Like, yes, I'm going to keep creating, I'm going to keep doing the things, but not from a place of like, oh, I need to prove myself, or I need to you know, do more just to do more, right? It's like, I had to remind myself, like, wow, I actually am so blessed. I'm living such a blessed life. I mean, look at your life right now. You probably have food, you probably have, you know, clothes to wear, your roof over your head, and so much more, right? But yet a lot of times we still feel like it's not enough. And there's so many people in this world that don't even have these basic necessities. So anyway, I'm rambling now and I should probably get going because sun is going down. But anyway, I wanted to share that all with you, and I hope it inspires you in some way. And thank you for all the comments and all the love. And the energetic alignment is happening this weekend on Saturday, and it's a great way to get connected to yourself, start working on getting to know who you are and tuning up your energy and getting into the vibration of all the things you want in your life. So there's 2 sessions, and depending on where you are in the world, you know, you have to check your time zones. You can check it out on the website. The link is in my bio. And if you have any questions about it, feel free to reach out. And I'm looking forward to this alignment. We're going to tune in, tune up, reboot, fresh start. And whether it's been your 20th alignment or your first one, it doesn't matter. We're going to raise the vibe together and have an epic alignment. All right. So lots of love to you all, and I'll see you next time.